as a professor at the University of Silesia, Watanebura, USJ, Sri Lanka. In 2023, he was a visiting scholar at the School of Oriental and African Studies of the University of London. He received his Doctor of Philosophy degree in Pali from the University of Belitania, Sri Lanka in 2009. He was promoted to the post of professor in Pali in 2015. Venerable Medakampitiye Vichikta Dhamma is a distinguished Pali scholar in this modern academia who writes and speaks Pali very well. In 2020, he received the title of Ekamaha Ganda Vaska Pandita from the government of Myanmar. So may I invite our moderator, Venerable Professor Dr. Medakampitiye Vichikta Dhamma to lead this afternoon section. Please, Venerable Sir.
Thank you very much, Venerable. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. First of all, I would like to express my great wishes to Most Venerable Professor Dr. Kamai Dhammasami for his 60th birthday. Today we are having the 11th International Conference on the Endeavours of Prominent Figures in Teaching and Practicing Buddhism. This is the 4th session of the conference. In this session, we have 4 speakers, 2 from India, 1 from Thailand, and another from United Kingdom. Each presenter has 25 minutes for the presentation and also for the discussion. Therefore, I kindly request all the presenters to present your presentations on time. Our first speaker is Dr. Saumak Poder. Dr. Saumak is an Indian researcher and author. Currently, he is a research scholar in the Department of South and Southeast Asian Studies, University of Kolkata. His PhD dissertation was funded by the Indian Council of Historical Research. He has also completed a certificate course on Islamic economics from the International Islamic University, Malaysia. Other than this, he has also earned a certificate from American University of Rome on cultural heritage. He has presented various research papers in various national and international seminars, and also he has published several articles in different newspapers and magazines. Apart from these, he has edited many books in the field of Indian history and culture. Today, Mr. Saumak is going to present the Mahabodhi mission, Syama Prasad Mukherjee's role in promoting Buddhism in India and Burma. Dear sir, the floor is over to you for your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good evening and namaste to everyone present here. First of all, I would like to thank University and the chair giving me this opportunity. My paper title is The Mahabodhi Mission, Syama Prasad Mukherjee's Role in Promoting Buddhism in India and Burma. Gautam Buddha, founder of Buddhism, was born in 6th century BCE in Lumbini village near present-day Nepal, then part of Akhanda Bharat. His demise marked division in Buddhism as Hinayan and Mahayan, which was one of the reasons leading to the downfall of Buddhism. Another biggest reason for the downfall of Buddhism was the invasion of Islam. But Buddhism was still alive in Chattogram, hilly areas of undivided Bengal. It was during this time Sinahali Bauddha Bhikshu, Anagarika Dharmapala, founded one of the core institutes for the Buddhist revivalism, Mahabodhi Society of India. The society was first founded at Colombo in 1891. Later, its offices were moved to Calcutta in the same year. One of its primary objectives was to use it as a frontline vehicle for the worldwide followers of the Buddha to have the right to worship the most holy Buddha Gaya temple in Gaya district of the Bihar state, India, where Prince Siddhartha Gautama attained supreme enlightenment, thus becoming the Tathagata Buddha. In addition, their objective was also to restore all place related to the life of the Buddha, the most compassionate one, to enable spread his unbounded compassion upon sentient beings all over the world. Just after the foundation of the Mahabodhi Society of India, Sir Ashutosh Mukherjee, as known as Tiger of Bengal, was associated as president. He was an eminent academician, judge of Calcutta High Court, former vice chancellor of Calcutta University, and father of Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee. Who is Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee? Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee is one of the central figures of the 20th century. Nationalist historian Dr. Ramesh Chandra Majumdar, while describing his character, wrote, in the 19th century, many Bengali sons, both nationally and internationally, have made Bengal proud and one of the celebrated communities. Unfortunately, 20th century experiences were completely reversed to that. There were very few Bengali songs who neither made their name internationally nor even nationally. But Shama Prasad was except to this trait. He was an eminent academician, and other hand, he was a renowned politician. At the age of only 33, he became the youngest vice chancellor of Calcutta University and most amazingly of Asia. He was become the first cabinet of India under the Prime Minister of Jawaharlal Nehru as the Industry and Supply Minister, and also he was the founder of Jana Sangha. Just after the foundation of Mahabodhi Society of India, in 5th January 1943, Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee was formally unanimously elected President of the Mahabodhi Society in the 50th AGM at the Mahabodhi Hall, 4A College Square, Calcutta, under the chairmanship of Dr. C.J. Pao, Consul General for China, in the vacancy created by the sad demise of Sir Manmathanath Mukherjee. He took active part in these activities of the society like his father Sir Ashutosh Mukherjee. Dr. Mukherjee was ever watchful over the progress of Buddhistic studies in the University of Calcutta, and he encouraged in the project of utilizing the Buddhist manuscript collection of the Royal Asiatic Society in furtherance of researchers into Buddhism. In 1942, after resigning from the Bengal State Cabinet as a finance minister, he organized large-scale relief work by the Mahabodhi Society of India with very active help from the then General Secretary Jinaratna Thera for the victims of famous Bengal famine 1943, in which 50 lakhs men and women and children died of hunger in the streets of Calcutta by opening a famine relief fund. They not only collected funds for relief work but also in conducting actual relief work. At Calcutta premises of the society, milk was given free to 200 children and sick people daily. This society, conjointly with the Ceylon Relief Society, started an orphanage, 6 milk canteens to give milk to 600 destitute children and sick people, a free kitchen for 100 men and a center where rice and clothing were distributed to the needy. So started as a part of the relief work. In Bengal, to educate poor and destitute children had become a permanent affair. It was housed in the Mahabodhi Hall, Calcutta, and it was opened on 12th January. Minister of Education, Ceylon, with 20 boys. Dr. Shama Prasad presided and said that Bengal is really grateful to Ceylon for nobly coming forward to relieve the distress caused by the famine by readily and liberally sending big donation of money. The relics of Gautam Buddha, two prominent disciples, Sariputta and Moggallana, which were discovered in the great स्तूप at Sanchi by Sir Alexander Cunningham in 1851. It was in 1939 that the British government agreed to return these relics. The World War, which began in the same year, prevented from being brought back to India. When India came free on the 15th August 1947 and England fulfilled her promise. On the 14th January 1949, relics were brought back to India under the presidency of Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee. Noteworthy, 29 years ago, his father, Sir Ashutosh, during his presidency, brought holy relics of Gautam Buddha brought to Calcutta and was kept at Sri Dharmarajika Chaitya Vihara, Calcutta, on 26 November 1920. Anyway, a big ceremony was held at Sri Dharmarajika Chaitya Vihara on the occasion, which was attended by politicians and leaders of many foreign countries, along with Buddhist monks at the Calcutta Maidan. The relic by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Prime Minister of India, Dr. Shama Prasad as the President of Mahabodhi Society of India, Dr. K.N. Karju, Governor of West Bengal, presided at 10 a.m. The Prime Minister, accompanied by the Governor, Dr. K.N. Karju, Dr. B.C. Roy, Prime Minister of West Bengal, who is also the Chairman of the Reception Committee, and leading Buddhists from Ceylon and other countries arrived in procession from Government House bearing the relics and bow sapling. A silent crowd of men, women and children lined the 1 mile route from Government House to Parade Ground, where the ceremony took place, and witnessed the procession carrying the golden caskets. A salute of 19 guns heralded their arrival and conch shells were sounded continuously. Dr. Shama Prasad expressed his deep appreciation for the inspiring presence and address of Pandit Nehru. He also extended a warm welcome to hundreds of bhikkhus, pilgrims, and other representative men and women who at considerable personal inconvenience have traveled to Calcutta from distant lands such as Ceylon, Burma, Nepal, Tibet, Bhutan, and Siam to participate in this great ceremony. The two great Buddhist sons, Sariputta and Moggallana, enjoyed more than anybody else the confidence and esteem of Gautam Buddha. They set at naught all material considerations, gave up their wealth and patrimony, and completely dedicated themselves in carrying out in and though they lived the teaching of their great master, noble principles of Shanti, forbearance, Maitri, friendlessness towards all beings, and Karuna, merciful beneficence. Their sacred relics bring back to our minds the immense influence they brought to bear upon the age in which they lived and the supreme part they individually played in laying the doctrines of Gautam Buddha on a firm and solid foundation. We look upon them as a symbol of the greatness that once belonged to India. Of the spiritual heights she attained thousands of years ago, and of the hope that she may attain in the future yet unborn, let India know herself truly and well. Let internal conflicts cease during the difficult period of transition, and let us have the faith and courage to march in a spirit of dauntless, untainted by obstacles and fears towards the attainment of our cherished goal. Sri Niharendu Datta Majumdar, Judicial Minister, West Bengal, rounded up the ceremony, which lasted about 4 hours, which a vote of thanks on behalf of the reception committee. After the ceremony was over, the sacred relics were taken to the Sri Dharmarajika Chaitya Vihara in College Square in a quiet procession of cars, escorted by a party of armed police. In the first car, which was profusely decorated with yellow flowers, Dr. Shama Prasad, president of the society, with the casket containing the relics in his hands. In the second car sat Sri Anandalalji Poddar, chairman of the society, carrying the 2 bow saplings from Ceylon. Maharaj Kumars of Bhutan and Sikkim and other distinguished visitors followed in other cars. At the gate of the Vihar, the relics were received by the Sri Surit Krishna Basu, Sri Devapriya Valishinha, and other members of the governing body, and the party were conducted to the shrine room upstairs, where the relics were deposited in the specially prepared altar after the Sachi gateway. Dr. Shama Prasad later took these relics to Burma, Cambodia, Thailand, and Vietnam in 1952, where it roused the feelings of people. It was also roused the feelings not only of the people of India, but also of people in the neighboring Buddhist countries, especially of Burma and Ceylon, where the relics were kept for a considerable period of time. He was sure that these sacred relics will establish deeper bonds of sympathy between India and other neighboring countries. Buddhist doctrine will ultimately form the foundation of world peace. Honorable Thakin Nu, Prime Minister of Burma, was present in this occasion. He requested Burma to get portion of the sacred relics of Sariputta and Moggallana Arhans. Honorable Thakin Nu, Prime Minister of Burma, was present in this occasion. He requested to Mahabodhi Society, especially President Dr. Shama Prasad, to give portion of the sacred relics to Burma as a permanent loan. In discussion above matter, a governing body meeting of the Mahabodhi Society held on the 9th November 1950. The meeting was presided over by Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee and Mr. Chan Tun, Attorney General of Burma. The society had agreed to give a portion as a gesture of goodwill and friendship towards Burma, said Shama Prasad. Mr. Chan Tun thanked the society for the noble act and said that this gift will make Burma deeply indebted to the Mahabodhi Society and will generously support the society activities in India. It was decided that these sacred relics would be handed over to special delegation team from Burma on 23rd December 1950. The similar portion of the sacred relics would be given to the Mahabodhi Society of Ceylon too. Reception to the Prime Minister of Burma and the gift of a Buddha relic to Burma. A cordial reception program was held in the Mahabodhi Society of India on 28th May 1950. The Honorable Thakin Nu, Prime Minister of Burma, and Mrs. Thakin Nu present in this occasion. President Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee said that the sacred relic were being handed over to Burma as a permanent loan, and that this would re-establish the link of friendship and unity between India and Burma. For the dark days that lay before us, it was essential that India, Burma, and other adjoining countries should reunite and act alike, strengthened by the ties of spiritual and cultural link that flowed from these countries centuries ago, said Dr. Mukherjee. Thakin Nu thanked Dr. Mukherjee and the Mahabodhi Society for their noble gesture in securing the relic for Burma, and said the sacred relic of Buddha to Burma would go down in history as the greatest benevolent act done to his country. Burma will always remember with gratitude this magnificent gesture of India. Burma sends rupees 50,000.
Recording stopped.
Offering more to sacred relics. Shortly thereafter, a meeting held in the Chancery of the Embassy of the Union of Burma in New Delhi on Wednesday, the 15th November 1950, Sir Mount Gee, Ambassador of the Union of Burma, presented to the Mahabodhi Society of India a cheque of rupees 50,000, being a portion of the to the sacred relics of the Lord Buddha and his two chief disciples. The meeting was attended by Dr. Shamaprasad, President of the Society, President of the
Recording in progress.
Delhi Indian Buddhist Association, prominent Buddhists of the city, representatives of the press and members of the local Burmese community. In 20 January 1951, Kolkata witnessed a function held in connection with the presentation of a portion of the sacred relics of Sariputta and Mahamogallana to the government and the peoples of Burma. In this program, President Dr. Shamaprasad Mukherjee addressed the meeting and explained the significance of this occasion. He expressed the hope that the presentation of the sacred relics would go a long way in strengthening the cordial relationship already existing between India and Burma, not only for the mutual benefit of the two countries concerned, but for the good of the whole world. Next, Sri Devapriya Balisrinha, the General Secretary of the Mahabodhi Society, read out a letter addressed to the Prime Minister of Burma on behalf of the Society. He was followed by Dr. K.N. Karju, the then Governor of West Bengal. In his speech, Karju said disappearance of Buddhism was one of the main causes of the downfall of India. He also observed that with the attainment of independence, Buddhism is returning to the land of its birth. After the speech of Karju, Wu Win spoke on behalf of Burma. He thanked the government of India and the Mahabodhi Society for presenting a portion of the sacred relics to Burma. Last of all, Mr. Toon, Attorney General of Burma, read out a Pali composition made in honor of Sariputta and Mahamogallana and gave the English rendering of the same. Then Dr. Shamaprasad Mukherjee handed over the relics to His Excellency Dr. K.N. Karju, who in turn handed them over to the Wu Win, leader of the delegation. Earlier, for this reason, the Prime Minister of Burma, Thakinnu, thanked Shamaprasad through a letter and invited him to visit Burma.
Mr. Salma, please conclude within 3 minutes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Dr. Shamaprasad Mukherjee wholeheartedly accepted this invitation and voiced to Burma the objective behind his voyage to rightly penned down by Balraj Madhav. Dr. Mukherjee's interest in the Mahabodhi Society of India and Buddhism was born out of his conviction that Buddhist thought and culture, which is essentially Indian or Hindu in its inspiration and essence, could act as a great unifying factor to bind together the Buddhist world, particularly the South Asian countries with India. In March 5, 1952, when the holy relics were enshrined at Kaaba Pagoda by a huge procession, Shamaprasad Mukherjee was one of the delegation who took part in this. The relics of disciples were carried on a decorated car from their temporary shrine near the Botatang Pagoda to Sri Mangala Hill. Among the many dignitaries, Shamaprasad Mukherjee was also part of this procession, along with some other important Burmese delegations such as Prime Minister Thakinnu, Religious Affairs Minister Wu Win, Sir Yu Thon, President of the Bauddha Sasana Council of Burma, and other prominent Burmese officials. The inauguration of Kaaba Pagoda was successfully completed, and at this occasion, Prime Minister Thakinnu light rockets and other firecrackers. The festivity mood was all over Burma. As per contemporary news reports, almost 1,000 Buddhist monks took part in the grandeur occasion. In newspapers, this occasion was written the most extraordinary celebration in modern Burmese history. One of the biggest highlights of this occasion was the enshrinement of relics by Shamaprasad Mukherjee. It must be taken into consideration when Shamaprasad visited Burma, their political situation was in turmoil. Due to the terror of communist guerrillas, their anti-social terrorist activities have made lives miserable for both government and common people. Rightly quoted by Balraj Madhav, the people of Burma who had been torn between different political factions and loyalties rediscovered their cultural unity in the common reverence for the gospel of the Buddha. It created a reaction in their minds against the communist irreligiosity and cult of violence. Ever since then, the situation in Burma has been improving and the communist guerrillas have been liquidated. Burmese Prime Minister said to Shamaprasad that your visit with the relics brought about a wonderful change in my people. They have found their soul. Shamaprasad was accorded a grand reception by Burmese residents and expatriate Indians. He was conferred with the guard of honor by Swayam Sevaks of Bharatiya Swayam Sevak Sangh at the airport. The Burmese Indian Congress was also felicitated him in a special function at Congress Hall. Conclusion: in Upanishad, the ancient Indian text, we found the idea of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, means the world is one of the family, promoting the ideas of universal brotherhood as Lord Buddha. Almost 70 years ago, Indo-Burmese bilateral ties was strengthened by Dr. Shamaprasad Mukherjee, is successfully continuing under the leadership of present Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The government policies and programs have been guided by the teachings of Lord Buddha, reiterating that the world plagued by instability and insecurity can find solutions to its problems in his teachings. Prime Minister Modi also stated that world can find solution not in Juddha but in Buddha. By saying so, he cleared India's stand in world politics, that India stands with the principles of peace and brotherhood. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Sir, picture, please, considering me.
Yes, we will have a group photo at the end of this session. Thank you very much, Mr. You have to show
Mukherjee, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, portrait of Shamaprasad Mukherjee. Portrait of Shamaprasad Mukherjee. This was the picture, Shamaprasad with Buddhist relics at Mahabodhi Society Hall, Calcutta. Shamaprasad address at Buddhist relics handed over ceremony at Calcutta Maidan. President Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and Burmese Prime Minister Honorable Thakinnu are in the program.
That's all.
So, Shamaprasad with Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and Thakinnu, the Burmese Prime Minister, the Honorable Burmese Prime Minister. That's also.
Thank you, Mr. Saumak. He talked about the Mahabodhi mission of Shamaprasad Mukherjee and his role in promoting Buddhism in India and Burma. He clearly pointed out how Mr. Mukherjee's effort resulted in Burma also. Therefore, I open the session for questions. Since we are running the time, we can only have one question. Since we don't have questions, thank you very much again, Mr. Saumak, and we will move to the next presenter.
Thank you, sir.
You are welcome. The next presenter is Venerable Thirasatto, Venerable Dr. Lablu Barua. He is from the Mahachulalongkorn University, Thailand. He is an assistant editor of Journal of International Buddhist Studies of MCU. Venerable Lablu is a Theravada monk working for spirituality and humanity since 2006. He has expertise in mindfulness, human rights, meditation, conflict management, and conflict resolutions also. Today, Venerable Thirasatto is going to present about His Holiness Suddhananda Mahathera. His topic is for today, a promoter of Buddhism and peacemaker in Bangladesh, His Holiness Subhananda Mahatero. Venerable Dr. Lablu Barua, the floor is over to you. Thank you. Venerable, now you can start the presentation.
So thank you so much. And at first, I offer my homage to the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. And I pray my great attitudes and to the host, these organizers, and also our founder and rectors of the Shan State University is the Oxford Sayadaw, Professor Dr. Dhammasami, on his 16th birthday ceremony. So I pray my great attitudes to him be a long live and good health on this spacious day. And my topics I suggest to a promoter of a Buddhist monk and Subhananda Mahatero. Actually, in these topics, I'll be discussed two important things. One is how is promote as a Buddhist monk in Buddhism in Bangladesh, and another is how is also privileged to the peace privilege in this earth, especially in Bangladesh, with his activity or with his contributions. As you know that everyone, if we want to study in Bangladesh history, we have to study a lot of history in Bangladesh, but I'm not going to this story about Bangladesh. At this present, can you see my PowerPoint? Hello, can you see my PowerPoint?
Yes, we can now.
Yeah. So in the Bangladesh, there is a very much historically, it's called Bangladesh, before it's called Banga or Bengal. Now at this moment it's called Bangladesh, and there is many historical backgrounds, and it's a start from the early age and middle age and late age, and the Mughal, Nawab, British colonized, and the Pakistan movement, and after that is from the 1971 is a present Bangladesh. And during that times, actually in Bangladesh, Buddhism flourished from the Pala dynasty and also from the Mujjan dynasty when the Samrat King Ashok. We have many evidence from there, and also we have many evidence still from the Pala dynasty. Basically, the Pala dynasty is the most significantly contributed in Bangladesh, promoting peace, harmony, and structural design, and also the peace privilege and to interfaith dialogue and respecting to the others. This is wonderful what the Pala dynasty did. But later on, when the Mughal and others dynasty came, Shan dynasty, Mughal dynasty, and Nawab dynasty came, and Buddhism was declining from Bangladesh. And that during the 10th century, most of the famous teachers, Buddhist scholars, and grew up in Bangladesh. Many of, and that time also Mahayana Buddhism also flourished in Bangladesh. And one of the Otisa Dipankara, Silabhadra, and Santarakkhita, they also propagate Buddhism from Bangladesh to China, Tibet, Indonesia, and Nepal. We have many evidence. But when the British government and also the comes, and that time Bangladesh Buddhism declinings, and that times we have a very much difficult to propagate Buddhisms, because Buddhist people are moved to from the present Bihar to slowly in the Hilltex area, or present where it's called the Chittagong Hilltex area. We are Buddhist. Buddhist means the big Arya nations, and at present in Bangladesh now, after independence, we are the 0.7% Buddhist, and most Buddhists are now as a minority, and we are living in the southeastern part of regions in Chattogram, Kumila, and Chittagong hill tracts, and also some of the in Dhaka at this moment, and Buddhists are called Borua, Chakma, Marma, Rakhine, and Tontenga. So many of the Buddhist peoples we are living at this moment, very less people. And sometimes in Bangladesh, we face many problems, religious problems, basically as intolerance, and also some of the extremism group developed, and also economical problems and imbalance of the economical social structures, and injustice and cooperation, and also corruption and hateful propaganda, and hateisms, dogmatic thought. For these reasons, sometimes Buddhism have faced a lot of problems, and it's create the tension, stress, and insecurity, and also sometimes, like I said, one of the biggest violence happened in Bangladesh with the Buddhists and Muslims is 2012 Ramu violence. This violence mostly de-escalated Buddhist and Muslims relationships, and also the trust each others. So that's why the peace propagations and Buddhism propagation is very much important in this contents of Bangladesh. And when the most venerable Suddhananda Mahathera was born is 1933 years ago, more than 100 years, nearly 100 years ago. And that time, Buddhism was very much dark age in Bangladesh, particularly in Bangladesh. Basically in Dhaka, there was no Buddhist temple, and only Chittagong have some Buddhist temple. And Chittagong Buddhist people are more influenced by the Theravada is from the Arkan state, but Arkanist Buddhism, we call them Arkanist Buddhisms. And Suddhananda Mahathera, he was born in January 15, 1933 in Ranguniya, Chittagong district during the British colonized period. And his family name was the Aditya Borua, which means the shining of light. And he had a very much challenges because when he was infant and the child, his father was died. And when he was 15 years old, his mother also died. So he like as one of the orphans boy. He don't have anyone to be take care. And later on in 1948, after the Second World War II, he became a novice with of the one of his preceptor is called the Mahasanganayaka Visiddhananda Mahathera, who was also a great prominent Buddhist monk and also Buddhist philosophers, and also his inspirations. He got the novitiate in novice, and then 1953 he was ordained as a Buddhist monk, fully ordained as a Buddhist monk, and of the same group. And then basically, and when he became a novice, and that times they established his guru, established one of the organizations. The organization called is the Bangladesh Bauddha Kisti Pachar Sangha at the present name, but before it was called the East Pakistan Bauddha Kisti Pachar Sangha. Bauddha Kisti Pachar Sangha means the propagation of the Buddhisms in this region. And there is Guru went to think that they have the organization in Chittagong, but they went to establish these organizations in Dhaka to cooperate, to connections with the government, and also to be peoples who are as we know that the people have to be the human right capitalizations. If we need the capitalizations to survive our life, so they have to bring in with the stream with our society, the mainstream society, because we are the back of the same stream of the society. So we have to come back to the Dhaka capital city. And then they came to the Dhaka capital city, 1952. And that time, basically, Dhaka peoples, no one know who are the Buddhists and how are they wear the robe. And sometimes they also think that the Buddhist monk is like a omen. When they go somewhere, they sit together as they feel women sit together because they feel they are the omen. And they also trade as a omen. And all that's why this quotation take from the His Holiness Siddhananda Mahatara's biographical books. He mentioned his book. And they have many much challenges, and they don't have a temples. They rent in a hotels, and they also sometimes live in a Hindu monastery. Is called Ramakrishna Mission, and they live there and they propagate Buddhism, and they connect with the government and also with the high authority peoples, and also they try to who are the educated people to bring them to the Dhaka and give them some job and to make their unity in this area. So, and they communicate with the government. In 1962, basically 1960, they got the land from the Pakistan government that times. And 1962, they established the Buddhist monastery, first Buddhist monastery in Dhammasami Buddhist monastery. And this monastery opened by the integrated by the His Majesty of the King Bhumibol Adulat, who is the King of Rama IX in Thailand. He went to Bangladesh. That time is called West Pakistan, and then he opened this temple. And this temple is now not only for a Buddhist temple, it is like a center of the educations, because this temple now have a high school, primary school, and cultural educational school, and also there is a orphans, Buddhist orphans. So this one, and they celebrate every year almost all the Buddhist festival activity, and they invited to the peoples to bring the peoples in this platform or in this monastery to create the dialogue, interfaith dialogue, and also know each others, to like as a cultural diversity they are creating. Because this school in the Dhammasami school is open for everyone, regardless any caste, any religious, all the religious people, Buddhist, Muslim, Christian, Hindu, all people they can study in the Dhammasami high school. So this school is one of the role model in Bangladesh, like as an interfaith school in Bangladesh, which is established by the Siddhananda Mahatara and his guru Visuddhananda Mahatara, 1972. And I am very also proud that I am also the one of the student of this school, and I finished my 12th class from this school, and I finished my bachelor and master degree and PhD from Thailand. So in this way, they are making to the monks, making us to be human capitalizations, to be the well-beings of the society, for well-being of the society. And later on, the Buddhist, His Holiness Siddhananda Mahatara and his guru, they established the temple in Bodh Gaya, India, where the Lord Buddha enlightenment. Because in the Bodh Gaya, basically in 19th century, there is no place for Buddhist people, Bangladeshi Buddhist people living there. And so that's why they closely work with the Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, and later on his son of the Rajiv Gandhi. So they got the land and they established this temple, and this temple is now one of the biggest temples there, and also propagation of the Bangladeshi culture, heritage, and also Theravada Buddhism in there. And who went to in Bodh Gaya, they can stay and they can do their ritual activity and practice their ritual activity, which is the propagation of the Buddhism. And this is also the one of the cultural program they do and cultural exchangings they do. So this way, this temple also, Bodh Gaya temple also, one of the center for the Buddhist propagations center by His Holiness Suddhananda Mahathero and by his preceptor of the Visuddhananda Mahathero. And we can find that to establish the peace as a peacemaker. Peacemaker means who are work for the peace and transmission the conflict from the society and inner conflict and outer conflict, and also be create the diversity, respect and harmonious society for the sustainable development in this country. So that's why he established with his guru some many educational institute. One is called Dhammarajika School, what I will explain, and another is called Podua Shamali Podua Girl High School and South Rangunia Degree College and also Coral Girls School. So this school also for the boys and also girls. So he did not. He always tried to go the same way, and male and female without the gender discriminations, because female also our part of our society, and then it also be a capitalizations to make them and also to be make with the esteem society go. So that's why this he built also for the boys and girls same together, the school, girls school and also boys school. This school is a study all of the students regardless of any religions, color and gender and caste. And so one of the interview I taken, so one of the interviewer tell me that this school is I study together with the Buddhist community students from the class 6 to class 10, and it helped me to understand their culture, tradition, value and beliefs. So it's reduced the conflicting. It's really is born a good relationship each other. This is one of the statement by the one students I asked interview, and he wrote. He tried to be also wrote some books. One of the books he wrote by his biographical own books, and also he was the editor of one of the literature journal is called Christie. This Christie is the very oldest publications by his the organization, Bangladesh Buddhist organization, and there is many articles written from the Buddhist, Muslim, Christian, everyone. They can write articles and they can share their thought, everything they can share. And also I already explained about this one. So complete mediations and conflict resolutions. As he was a supreme Buddhist monk in Bangladesh, he became a resident of Bangladesh Buddhist Pachar Sangha. When the 2012 violence happens, and he communicate with the governments, law enforcement, NGO, civil society, policy makers, and community leader, faith leaders to bring in one place to make the dialogue, because dialogue can solve the problems, and dialogue can reduce the conflict, and dialogue can create the respecting each others, to knowing each other. When we know each others, the tension will be reduced. So he build them and he guide them, and he make the one of the organization is called the Surakha Committee, and then with these organizations they communicate with the authority of all the sectors, and they try to be mediations and this conflict resolutions. And he believed that hate always we create the hate. That's why we to be follow the according to Buddha's teachings to be hate, not be hate. We are through our loving kindness. So with
excuse
this
me, Venerable. Please conclude within 2-3 minutes. Huh?
Yeah, thank you, sir. So that's why he tried to be make the mediations and conflict resolutions and to be protect to the Bangladesh Buddhist community. And later on, he also visited many countries and he participated is more than 100 conference, seminar, and he also arranged many times seminar, conference in Bangladesh, in Dhammarajika orphanage, and he first visit in 1963, and all the BISAP conference, he was the BIP, and he talked about the Bangladesh Buddhism and Bangladesh Buddhist problems, the issue, and he advocating human rights and religious harmony and peaceful coexisting debates. So this is the things he talked with the global platform to propagation peace. And also he represented as with the global peoples. One of the interview I taken, and one of the journalists, he is from the Norwegian journalist, he mentioned that my father found a kind of soul made in Suddhananda Mahatera. Although they came from the very different backgrounds, they enjoyed discussing life, a small or big issue, and they both found out that a human being is a human being. Wherever his or her skin is brown or white, regardless of the religious belief, nationality, or position. She also wrote, I know Venerable Suddhananda Mahatera nearly 25 years. He means a lot of me. I regard him as one of my dearest and closest friends. This is friendship of showing me that there are no national, religious, gender boundaries to honesty. And he got many awards for these positions. He got the award title from the Myanmar government, Agra Maha Saddhamma Jutika Jajagga. This is from the 2017 from the Myanmar government, and also from the Bangladesh government. He got the award Equisi Padak for his social contributions, and from the Thai government, King of the Rama Trends, he got the Prabhisuddhi Wangsa titles, and from the India government, he got the Mahatma Gandhi Peace Award, and also from the Bangladesh, he got the Otisa Dipankara Award gold medals. So, as a conclusion, we can say that as a peacemaker, as a Buddhist Buddhism promoters, he's one of the values he used non-violence and compassion and mindfulness to address the social issue, and he has led the initiatives to support education, healthcare, welfare project, and also as a legacy of his contributions is goodwill and respected with us, and we always to be his roles and his legacy and activity is the still promoting Buddhism in Bangladesh and keeping peace building and peacemaking by his social and structural peace activities. So his legacy inspired our future generation to be pursuits of harmony, sociality, coexisting peace, and sustainable development of the GST. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Venerable Dr. Tirasato. He pointed out how Venerable His Holiness Suddhananda Mahatera contributed for the promotion of Buddhism in Bangladesh and how he held a great role as a peacemaker in Bangladesh. Now it is time for the questions. I would like to open the presentation for question and answering session. If you have any questions, now you can raise your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Venerable, for your nice presentation. You have touched the Venerable the from Bangladesh, a prominent figure, working tirelessly for the promoting Buddhism in Bangladesh. So what I wanted to highlight this, elder generation in Bangladesh, they have taken a big responsibility, and they've been working tirelessly. As you mentioned, all of this. So my question to you is, I believe that it is the right question to you. How about this generation? To recall my personal experience in Sri Lanka, I live in Sri Lanka with some of the Bangladesh friends who are educated, but they don't want to go back their country. Very few, handful of monks going back and work there, especially educated monks. They really avoid to go back. So for me, I was wondering what's wrong. So we all know that this kind of venerable that you mentioned, the living that region, doing such thing, not only Buddhism but social justice, other peace, walking. So it's very significant to the people in the Bangladesh. So that I've already asked you the why this generation. It would be difficult. If it's difficulty, the challenging or difficulty for this generation to going back your region, Bangladesh. Thank you so much, Venerable.
And just only give few minutes. I can explain the first. Very much minority, less than 0.0%. That is not also 1%. So if when we study in abroad, but we do not get this kinds of opportunity in Bangladesh. So that's why sometimes they want to stay out of our country, basically who study. And at this time also many Buddhist peoples, they migrate in for their own purpose, America, Australia, because the Buddhist people, basically our Buddhist people believe that we can change our life with the educations. So many of the Buddhist peoples, even we are the very minority, but Buddhist people in Bangladesh, they are very high educated. And their children, their sons, they go in many countries and they establish the temple. And France, we have a temple in USA, we have a temple in many countries at this moment. In India, as I have explained. So some monks who have finished their educations, they want to go back this country, and they also propagate Buddhism out of the country, because as they are also facing in Bangladesh many problems. As I cannot say that all the government, all everything, they give the equal right. This is sometimes they have not the social justice. Also don't like to go in Bangladesh, but our new generation, I hope that they also very hardly study Buddhism, and our new generation monk, they also try to be work tirelessly to keep Buddhism, because we got this gift from the Buddha's time. We still keeping this gift as our special gift from the Buddha in Theravada Buddhism. We try to keep still in Bangladesh.
Thank you, Venerable.
Thank you, Venerable.
Thank you so much.
Okay, now by thanking to Venerable Dr. Tirasatto, I would like to move to the next.
May I ask one question?
Yes, sure.
If it is allow me. Okay.
Sure.
It's very wonderful actually to hear Venerable Dr. Tirasatto Bhikkhu. It's very wonderful talk. You briefly analyzed your teacher, Most Venerable Shuddhananda Mahatero. Actually, as you know that in 2012 there was a very big communal riots that we mentioned, that is talking about Ramu violence. So thus I heard that Venerable Shuddhananda Mahatma had played a great role. So could you extend a little bit about that, his active uh, activities during that time? And also another thing, like another thing I'd like to mention that I'd like to listen your opinion that during the time of Ramadan, Islamic festival, so when they have some fasting period, the time Shuddhananda Mahatma also in his time he used to offer some foods those for those people who is fasting. So could you please explain a little, extend a little bit from your
Yes, please.
knowledge?
Thank you so much, Dr.
Yes,
Sanjay from the Mahidol University.
Venerable, excuse me, in brief, in brief, because we are running the time.
Yeah, so just only 1 minute. So thank you so much, Sanjay, Dr. Sanjay Guru Chaudhary, for your good questions. Actually, Shuddhananda Mahathir during the Ramu violence, he made the one of the organizations with all the Buddhist community leaders. It's called the Suraka committee. Suraka means protections committee, and they communicate with the governments. Even I show you one of the picture in here. They met with the prime minister, that time prime minister with the Sheikh Hasina, and they tell about their what their demand and how to be solve these problems. And later on, Shuddhananda Mahatara to be given the food who are the given the Ramadan period is make the one of the connectivity and one of the connections to knowing each others, because when we have a hunger situation, we cannot think about the religious. We are be a met. So he tried to be given the foods to them and to they also. I have some interview many people. Actually, they given the good answer. That's the Buddhist temples offering foods. This is the wonderful. This is the make the relationship each other. So when some violence happen, they never be attacked to this monastery. Because they know this monastery and they're helping, and also this monastery given the water facility, water distribution every times, morning and evenings, because in Dhaka city we have a very difficulty with the drinking waters. So this monastery given morning and evenings to the free distribution of the waters for surrounded the peoples. So this is making the one of the relationship. Without relationships, the conflict always comes. So when we have a good relationships, so it will be reduce the conflict and it's make the brotherhood relationship. So he make the brotherhood relationships with this way. That's a way. So thank you so much.
Thank
for
you,
your question.
Venerable. Thank you, Venerable Dr. Tirasatto.
Thank you.
Actually, you can play the role of Most Venerable His Holiness Suddhananda Thera in the future for the protection of Buddhism in Bangladesh. By thanking to Venerable again, now I would like to invite Dr. Basindar Deep to present his presentation on B.R. Ambedkar's theories and practices of Buddhism in India. The presenter, Dr. Basindar Deep, is an assistant professor of philosophy at Rajendra University, Pragya Vihar, Balangir, Odisha, India. He has completed his MA, MPhil, and PhD degrees at the Center of Philosophy, Jawaharlal Nehru University, which is popularly known as JNU in New Delhi. His area of interest includes philosophical methodology, ethics and epistemology, lived experience and theory, socio-political philosophy, and studies on Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and Buddhism. Dr. Deep, the floor is over to you to present your presentation on contribution of Ambedkar on Buddhism. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable Professor Dr. Vijita Dhamma. Sorry, actually my camera is not getting on. that is some technical problem suddenly happening now. Otherwise, I was there. So can I leave and rejoin for a minute and start my presentation?
Yes, yes, of course. Title is B.R. Ambedkar's Theories and Practices of Buddhism in India.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Actually, my video is not working. So can I present like this?
Yes, sure, you can.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, I would like to thank the organizer um of Shan State Buddhist University for selecting my topic for the presentation. And my co-presenters and Venerable Vijita Dhamma, the moderator of this session. And I would like to give my best wishes and gratitude to the Venerable Oxford Sayadaw Professor Dr. K. Dhammasami, the founder and rector of Shan State Buddhist University, on his 60th birth anniversary celebration. So, not taking much time, as you can see my PPT, I'm not sharing from my side since it is visible to everyone. So my topic of presentation is B.R. Ambedkar's theories and practices of Buddhism in India. So it is known to everyone that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has contributed in the field of Buddhism as a scholar and also as a practitioner, especially in India, and also he was connected to the Buddhist countries and also the world. And now the international scholars also working on Ambedkar's Buddhism tremendously. So my focus on the presentation in this paper is uh, Ambedkar's contribution academically, theoretically, what is his contribution, and practically how, as a missionary of Buddhism, how he has, revived Buddhism in modern India. And if we see theoretically, Ambedkar has conceptualized and defined many concepts and theory on Buddhist principle. And practically, if we see in 1956, he converted into Buddhism with a large number of people, and later on, at the end part of his life, he has spread Buddhism all over India and put his effort to revive Buddhism in a great manner. So therefore, if you see, since I am a student of and scholar of philosophy, I find that Ambedkar was reduced his focus on Buddhism, his contribution of Buddhism in as a Buddhist scholar was never recognized the way he was supposed to be acknowledged. And therefore, if you see his work, his writings and speeches, he has contributed into his total number of volumes into 22 volumes. That was published by the government of Maharashtra and subsequently from the government of India has published those articles, all the writings. So if we see all the writings and speeches, there are a lot of writings which focuses on Ambedkar's which focuses on Ambedkar and his contribution to Buddhism. And therefore, it is necessary to discuss in a larger context the Buddhism as a social and political philosophy, which is very necessary to understand the problems, fundamental problems of Indian society, which Ambedkar was realized, and therefore he thought that Buddhism is not a like merely a social, merely a religion, for that matter, but it is a philosophy. It is a social and political philosophy, and therefore we have to understand Buddhism in the larger context of social and political philosophy, which help us to understand various socio-political realities and problems. So his I have three sections in my article or in my presentation. The first sections in first section I have discussed the reasons for Ambedkar's attraction toward Buddhism. So if we little bit analyze the biographical aspect of Ambedkar's from his childhood to his Mahaparinirvana, uh, in his Mahaparinirvana, Ambedkar has, one of the basic reasons of attraction toward Buddhism was that the problem of caste. So in India, due to the caste inequalities, and Ambedkar himself has faced, tremendously in his life from childhood up to the Mahaparinirvana. That from school during his childhood time in school he was treated very differently because as we all know that he belongs to an untouchable community called Mahar, and nowadays it is known as Dalits. So there are a lot of untouchable castes who are collectively called Dalits. So this is the reality, the caste discrimination in India, and Ambedkar would like to overcome from this problem. Since he has faced caste discrimination in Indian society, he wanted to overcome from caste discrimination. And if we see his writings, a small piece of autobiography that is waiting for a visa, and the different writings like caste in India, annihilation of caste, and like philosophy of Hinduism, and others writings which highlighted how caste discrimination takes place in India and what is the characteristics and philosophy of caste system in India. And therefore, one of the reasons to overcome from one of the reasons to get attracted toward Buddhism is that to overcome from the caste systems, because in Indian history, if you see, Buddhism as a philosophy has developed certain alternative against the caste, and therefore, Buddhism is according to Ambedkar, Buddhism is an emancipatory, pragmatist, philosophy that has, a solution toward the caste inequality and caste injustices. So another important reasons we can identify that, and Ambedkar meticulously highlighted that caste cannot be understood in isolation to religion, particularly in Indian context. And therefore, there is an intersectional aspect of caste and religion. And in that context, he critically understands the Indian social order, and Indian social order, that means the Hindu social order, the Brahminical Hindu social order. And that has been highlighted in Caste in India and in other writings, how, casteism, function and reproduces in Indian context. So therefore, these are the two important aspects. Ambedkar, identify the people, large number of people, mass are, victim of caste inequality, and this caste has a link toward religion. Therefore, he was compelled to critically study caste and religion in the context of India. And that is the reason he tried to search. He was trying to search for an egalitarian religion which can, provide a certain, egalitarian principle to practice and establish a society based on, liberty, equality, fraternity, and justice. And therefore, in a way, finding out this alternative, he was also searching for a political community in the context of, from the perspective of democratic values. So, can you move towards the next slide? So, uh, theoretically, theoretical intervention of Ambedkar in reconstructing Buddhism. So, the Ambedkar's Buddhism is known as Navayana Buddhism or New Buddhism in India, because over the period of time, Buddhism was assimilated by the counter-revolutionary forces. Otherwise, Ambedkar identified Buddhism as a revolutionary forces and as a socio-political philosophy which has, many insights to reconstruct the even the modern society based on the so-called modern values, liberty, equality, and fraternity and justice. And therefore, it is necessary to understand Ambedkar's Buddhism even in the context of democracy and modern state. And if we see the last speech of Ambedkar in 1949 Constituent Assembly, when he was pointing out the relevance and danger of the democracy, he was pointing out some of the, principle of Buddhism, some of the practices of Buddhism, how Buddhism was a democratic, secular, and modern in spirit. That is very, very relevant to imbibe by our contemporary society. And therefore, it is very, very necessary to understand Buddhism as a socio-political philosophy rather than reducing it as a religious sect. And therefore, a lot of writings also, and one of the, you know, um, perspective or perspective that is found in Indian academia is that Buddha was never taught as a political philosopher or a socio-political philosopher. He was always, treated as a religious saint, and that is the biggest problematic way to understand Buddhism or Buddha. And can you move to next slide? And that has been pointed out by Ambedkar in his Buddha and his Dhamma. Over the period of time, Buddhism is a very unique philosophy which is different from other forms of philosophy or other school of philosophy in India. Over the period of time, Buddhism was misinterpreted and misunderstood, and that creates a lot of confusions among the academia and also among the people. And that is the reason, Buddhism over the period of time declines in India. And one of the reasons he identified that Buddhism has a tremendous literatures. Abhidhamma Pitaka, three Pitakas are available, and that also has many subtexts. And in that context, it is very difficult to understand the layman what Buddhism is. And therefore, Ambedkar realized that it is necessary to have a text like a Bible, one text, a brief text that can actually provide the basic teaching and practices of Buddhism. And therefore, in the form of Buddha and his Dhamma, at the end of his life, he published Buddha and his Dhamma, and that provides many clarity and the version of Ambedkar's Buddhism. And for example, there are many concepts he discussed, and through that many confusions and misinterpretation can be understood, like Dhamma, Karma, non-violence are some of the and renunciations. In Indian context, it is taught to the student that Buddha or Siddhartha Gautam left the house. It is due to the because he has never seen the old person, sick person, and a sannyasi or saint, and that is the reason he left the houses. But that is not the actually real reason what Ambedkar understood. Ambedkar provides and bring clarification in the preface of this book that he has left for a larger, concern of this society. That is the social concern, social conflict. And he pointed out the example of there was a conflict between Sakya and Kolya community, and due to the problem of Niranjana river, and it was not resolved through any democratic dialogue and discussions. And at the end, since there was a majority agreed to go for a work against the Kolya to take all the waters in their side. And Buddha was the only person, or Siddhartha Gautam was the only person he was against this. And at the end, and this is the turning point to leave the turning point of his renunciation. And therefore, he pointed out his renunciation, his cause of renunciation is a larger, concern, that is social conflict, social inequality, that we in different way we call it dukkha, and and how to overcome from the dukkha or suffering. And later on, he compared with the contemporary, like the philosopher Marx, and he wrote at the end. He attended the uh, Buddhist conferences in the Nepal. That is, and there he presented Buddha or Karl Marx. So in that he has compared the how Buddhist philosophy is progressive and in many way emancipatory and relevant for our generation, and therefore he compared with these two philosophers, and he pointed out that there was similarity as far as their means are concerned, as far as their aims are concerned, but as far as their means are concerned, there is differences. And Buddhism never in support of violence, and the means of social transformation is that is love and non-violence, and therefore uh, he- his philosophy has to be understood uh, in a larger context of social and political philosophy. And therefore, since his Buddhism was very very different, uh, in the sense he has given certain meanings to certain concept, which brings lot of clarity, uh, lot of clarity among many confusions which was developed over the period of time. And um, and in our generation it is very important. Can you move to the next slide? In our generation, it is very important to understand Buddhist philosophy and its relevance, which was highlighted by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. And that socio-political philosophy has been, highlighted by many contemporary scholars like Akash Singh Rathore, Ajay Barma, Pradeep Gokhale, Kanchana Mahadevan, Gopal Guru, Keshav Kumar, Kanchaela, Gail Ombed, Eleanor Gilliard, Mirananda, and many others. And therefore, we have to brings Buddha's philosophy as a socio-political philosophy, looking at the contemporary problems and situation, because Buddhism has a many solution and many response to this all the contemporary problems. And what is the basic problem and scope of socio-political philosophy? It helps us to critically understand the existing society and politics, and if there is a problem both at the level of methodology and epistemology, it is necessary to suggest uh, to certain alternatives so that it can respond the contemporary problems and issue. And if you see that Ambedkar's philosophy has done the has done that contribution, and therefore Ambedkar's, in order to understand Ambedkar's philosophy, it is necessary to understand Ambedkar's Buddhism. And he has many, for example, his contribution to Navayana Buddhism, 22 vows, uh, 22 promises. In that, he has highlighted many misunderstanding about Buddhism, Buddha or Buddhism, Buddhist philosophy. For example, uh, you know, it is declared that Buddha is the ninth incarnation of Vishnu, who is in one of the vows or promises. He says it is a misrumors, or it is a misunderstanding, and it is the assimilation or appropriation of Buddhist philosophy or Buddha. And therefore he declared it in one of the literally declared in categorically mentioned, I will never believe that Buddha as the ninth incarnation of the Vishnu. And therefore, he has many insightful contribution to Buddhist philosophy, and one of the uh, socio-political philosophers in India who has revived Buddhist philosophy in a tremendous way. And um, in conclusion, that in this paper I have tried to explore Ambedkar's Buddhism. He has reconstructed and revive Buddhist philosophy in the context of modernity, state, and society. According to him, Buddhism is a social and political philosophy which is relevant to reconstruct a society and nation based on egalitarian and democratic principles. He has tried to explain many problematic interpretation and conception about Buddhism, which has developed due to counter-revolutionary forces. Hence, through his Navayana or New Buddhism, he has tried to explain Buddhist philosophy in its true sense. One of the important point I would like to mention here is that although he called his Buddhism is neither Navayana or Hinayana or some other forms of Buddhism, but all the Buddhist sects, the basic tenets of all the Buddhist school of thoughts are there is no differences. Although there are certain interpretation in terms of the way they practice certain things, there is a differences. But as far as the core principle of Buddhism is concerned, there is intact across all the Buddhism. So there are a lot of things. I cannot read the paper, and in brief, I have tried to present, and I would like to engage with the participants if there is any questions to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Basindar Deep, who presented the theories and practices on Buddhism by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. If you have any questions as he requested, now you can raise your questions regarding his presentation.
Hello.
Yes, you can raise your question from the Shan State Buddhist University.
Yes, I am a visitor here in Shan State Buddhist University. I'm originally from Bangladesh, and luckily I have the chance to be here in this auspicious moment, and also luckily I met some monks from India who actually introduced themselves as kind of like Navayana Buddhism. They introduced themselves like they were the followers of Navayana Buddhism. So because I stayed in Paok Toya on Paok Forest Meditation Center, and I saw that when they when they got instructions from when they got instructions, meditation instructions, they were having difficulty with kind of like taking those instructions as from the real Buddha, like that, because their interpretations we are something different, which we are rooted in the doctrines of this Navayana Buddhism. So that's when I felt that this Navayana Buddhism, the doctrine of Navayana Buddhism, is really kind of something different from what we believe as Theravada Buddhism. So, and when I studied as I don't know if it is a venerable or is it a so the point is what are the monks what do the monks in this Navayana Buddhism believe as Nibbana? I mean, do they practice for Nibbana as the ultimate goal, or do they just practice for socio-cultural equality as it is as the speaker represented it as it is? That was my question.
Okay, now question is over to Dr. Basindar.
Yeah, thank you
Please
very much.
answer in brief. Huh?
Yeah, thank you very much for the questions. It's very important question. Uh, from the Ambedkar's perspective, uh, Navayana Buddhism is, as I pointed out at the end, the core principle of Navayana Buddhism also represents the core principle of Buddhist philosophy, and that can be seen across the different sect of or different school of Buddhism. The difficulty sometimes we find Navayana Buddhism and other sect of Buddhism is that because Navayana Buddhism has been reconstructed in the context of in a very different context, and it takes as Ambedkar pointed out, my emancipation lies in the emancipation of the society. So you cannot locate an individual emancipation in isolation. If the society is not liberated, therefore, as a Bodhisattva, Ambedkar, he always, dedicated to liberate the society, to emancipate the society, and fight against the different kind of injustices. And therefore, because sometimes in the Navayana Buddhism has been interpreted and understood in the context of socio-cultural and religious, problems, and therefore, and that is why Ambedkar's Buddhism has to be understood in the context of socio-political philosophy. Buddhism has to be treated as a socio-political philosophy, and that has been done by Ambedkar, and a very few scholar has explored on this. For example, Kain Chela has a book, God as a Political Philosopher, but that was criticized. It was not God, but God means Buddha as a political philosopher. And in that he had deeply engaged that how Buddha responded many socio-political problems, including women's gender inequality, and all related to social justice. All these questions in his teachings and practices, and therefore sometimes it is necessary to engage. And I would suggest, if we read Buddha and his Dhamma carefully, we will understand better how Buddhism implements even larger the interpretation of Buddhist principle and teachings in different sector of Buddhism, as well as how it takes seriously to the contemporary problems or socio-cultural issues as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Basindar. Now we will move to the last presentation of this session. The next presenter will be Pramaha Baskon Piyabasu. Venerable Piyabasu is a Thai monk who ordained in 1988 and who got his higher ordination in 1995. Venerable Piyabasu has received Pali 9, highest level of Pali studies, in 1999 from Thailand, and he has a diploma in Abhidhamma, and also he holds first class honors Bachelor of Arts degree in English from the Mahachulalongkorn Rajvidyalaya University, Thailand, and MA from University of Mahidol. His MPhil studies was from University of Bristol from 2010, and currently he is a DPhil student of Asian and Middle Eastern Studies at the St. Anthony's College, of the University of Oxford. His supervisor is well-known Professor Kate Crosby. Venerable Piyabaso today presents on Venerable Jnanakitti, who lived in 15th century. His title is for today Jnanakitti, the late 15th century scholar monk in Lanna Kingdom of Thailand. Venerable Piyabaso, I respectfully invite you to present your ideas on Venerable Jnanakitti. Thank you very much.
Namatu Ratanatayasa, may pay my homage to the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. Most venerables, venerable monks and nuns, and distinguished guests, and dear devotees. So good afternoon to everyone there, and good morning here in the UK. So the time in the UK is just 23 past 10. And first of all, I just would like to offer my congratulations to the most, Dr. Professor K. Dhammasami on his 60th birthday celebration. And on this occasion, as a part of my gratitude and also my contribution to the conference, I just would like to present the paper or the research subject that I'm working on at the moment. I want to share the screen. I think I'm able to share now. Right, as Venerable Professor Dr. Vijayadhamma introduced my topic for today's presentation, I would like to touch upon 2 points about Jnanakitti, and who was the late 15th century scholar monk working in Lanna Kingdom. And the first point is about Jnanakitti himself, and because we have very limited sources to identify who he was. And then the second point will be his contribution to Pali literary works. Well, let's begin by looking at the map. I thought if you have been to the north of Thailand before, you will know where Lanna is. So you can see on the left side that Lanna covers many provinces in the northern part of Thailand, and sometimes even extend to the lower part of China and also the northern part of Myanmar. And here we can see closely that Lanna Kingdom is pretty close to Myanmar, especially Dongji, and even Shan state. So this means that there are a lot of commonalities in terms of literature or even culture between the north of Thailand and Shan state. Well, before I go on with my presentation, I just like to share my background and why I'm interested in doing this field, especially working on the works of Jnanakitti. Whereas as a Pali student and also as a Pali teacher in Thailand, and Jnanakitti names come across to my attention when I study Pali level 6 or Pali grade 6. And the reason is that we need to use his work to help with Pali translation, and when we translate Samanabhasatika, the Samanabhasatika commentary, and then we would use his Adhyojana in order to translate the Pali into Thai language. And later on, when I was working as a Pali teacher, and then I grow my interest in his work because, and among the Lanna Buddhist scholar, Buddhist monk scholar, Jnanakitti has excelled all of his contemporary monks because for the 19th century, and probably from 1485 to 1504, he had produced 13 Pali literary works. So this is the reason why that his life is quite interesting for me. Up to date, some of his work are sometimes used as aid texts, as I mentioned earlier, to when you translate Pali into Thai or to other languages, then we use his Atha Yojana. But his Pali works have never been fully examined or even translated into other languages. And Yanagiti life, as I mentioned earlier, that this is the first point that I would like to touch upon. Yanagiti life is still controversial, which means that, and we don't know, we are not sure what nationality he has. But at that time, I don't think we don't actually distinguish people by their nationality. We normally identify people by the town they live. And some Burmese sources confirm that he was in fact a Burmese monk who came to live and work in Lana Kingdom, whereas other sources state that the evidence from his own work confirmed he was a native of Lana. Well, and this is still controversial, and then I am working on it to find out if Yanagiri was a Thai, Lana, or Burmese, and then until now, I don't have the conclusion yet. Well, let's say that from my research, well, according to his work, Yanagiri was one of the Lana scholar monks who lived during the reign of King Tiloga, who reigned Lana Kingdom between 1442 to 1487, and King Yot Chiang Rai, who reigned the kingdom between 1487 to 1495. When we look at his work, in the epilogue of Pali literary work, Yanagiri stated that King Tiloga built a monastery known as Panasarama, and he recited that. And the Pali word Panasarama could be translated into English as the jackfruit grove, because it was possible that in that monastery and there were lots of the jackfruit tree, something like that. And then another source also say that Yanagiri might have gone to study Pali in Sri Lanka. However, I tried to find a source to confirm this, but it's just like a hearsay. And I even tried to find a source in Sri Lanka as well, but there is no confirmation that Yanagiri went to study Pali in Sri Lanka. There might be the source to confirm that, but up to date, we don't have any evidence to prove this yet. So according to that source, having returned to Chiang Mai, or the Lana Kingdom, Yanagiri lived in the monastery known as Panasarama, or Jackfruit Grove, as I mentioned earlier, in the northwest of the ancient city of Chiang Mai. And I will later show you the map where we attempt to locate his monastery. Here is the city of, if the map of, and you can say that it's a bit tiny. Just want to show that the map of the old city of Chiang Mai will look like this, and then we attempt to locate the monastery where Yanagiri lived and worked on his Pali manuscript. And according to his own work in his epilogue, he mentioned that he worked and lived in the monastery called Panasarama in the northeast of Chiang Mai. So it could be in this area. For those who haven't been to Chiang Mai before, and it may be a bit difficult for you to imagine what is it like. So when I was in Chiang Mai, I have asked many local people about the Panasarama. So most of them have no idea where this monastery is. And although I tried to find a list of 19th century, but this monastery is not in the list. So it is recorded in Yanagiri own's work, but it's not in the list of the a modern list of monastery in Lana Kingdom. Well, just leave it like that, and then we're gonna look at the second point that I want as a 13 Pali literal works. And what are they? Yeah, in brief, and he had written 3 works on the Vinaya Pitaka, mainly on the commentary, and he named his works Atayojana, and then 8 on Abhidhamma, last but not least 1 on Pali grammar. So in total, he had produced 13 Pali manuscripts. And then let's look at the Vinaya in detail. And the first text in relation to the Vinaya commentary is known as Samanta Basadika Atayojana, and this is the text that the Pali student in Thailand normally use when we translate Samanta Basadika Atayojana, and this text is even allowed in the examination room because it can help the student to see the context of the Pali of the Samanta Basadika Atayojana. So Yanagiti Atayojana is allowed in examination room. And then the second one, Piku Padimokkha Kandatipane, and this is regarding the practice of Padimokkha, which is especially concerning with the monks' disciplinary rules. The text suggests the procedure of ceremony on the Padimokkha day when the monks assemble at the main hall to listen to the whole 227 precepts recited by an appointed and skillful monk. And this text also gives an account in the Padimokkha and was composed in 1492. I haven't access to this text, so now we try to translate this one as well. And then there's the third work on the Vinaya is Sima Sangra Vinaya, and the text that deals with the place used for performing various ceremonies, such as ordination ceremony, that is the Sima, or the boundary which comes together with the opposite hall where the monks assemble to perform the Sankhagama, or the formal act. And then Abhidhamma. So most of his works are about Abhidhamma. Katha Salani Atayojana, Samoha Vinodani Atayojana, Dandu Gatha Atayojana, Pogala Panjati Atayojana, Gathawatu Atayojana, Yamaga Atayojana, and then Padana Atayojana. However, from number 3 to number 7, sometimes are known as Panchakarana Gatha Atayojana. So this is the word. Okay, last one. Abhidhamma Vipavani Atayojana. This one too is used in Thailand, and the text is even allowed in the examination room. And Pali student level 9 will be requested to translate Abhidhamma Vipavani, and then an Atayojana or Yanagiti Atayojana can be used to when they translate the Abhidhamma Vipavani. This is one of the texts that in Thailand and used by the Thai Pali student. And then Pali grammar, and there is only one text written by Yanagiti, and that is Mulakajayana Atayojana. So this text is kind of like the manual of Pali grammar according to the Gajayana lineage, composed by the Gajaya Thera, who was the Buddhakosa Jr. So, in my presentation, I just would like to find out that who Yanagiti was, and as I mentioned earlier, that until now, we just learned from his work that he lived and worked in Lana Kingdom. It was possible that he was a native Lana, or he might immigrant from Shan state or from northern part of Burma. There's still more evidence to find about who Yanagiti was. And regarding his work, at the moment I'm working on and the Bali manuscript. I tried to translate some of his work. I with the hope that I will be able to find out more about Yanagidi work. Okay, thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, you are more than welcome. But I thought we are running out of time now, and as I know that we use lots of time. Okay, thank you again for your attention.
Good afternoon here, Venerable Sir. I'm a visitor. Yes. Okay.
Pointed out many things. Yes, now yes. If you have any questions, now it is for your questions.
Yes, hello again. I'm from Shastrapur University. My name is Vichita.
Venerable, please raise your question on Venerable P. Basu.
Okay. Microphone maybe problem.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So my question is relevant to the grammar text in Pali. So still, do you have a traditional learning such sources into your syllabus for your institution? For example, the from the Parivana or whatever. Thank you, sir. Currently, so because I see that by using such sources is a bit more difficult for young novices in our country nowadays. We found that, so it is far from them. So I assume this is could be scholarly work. Hello, do you got my question?
In Thailand, when we start learning Pali, we normally begin with Pali grammar. So the Pali grammar syllabus that we learn in Thailand is quite brief, just sufficient to be able to translate Pali into Thai. We normally spend 4 to 5 months learning Pali grammar, and then we start translating the Dhammapada from Pali into Thai. From my personal point of view, and based on my direct experience, I don't think the Pali grammar in Thailand is sufficient to translate or to understand the Pali text. I'm always struggling when I translate at the Yoshana, and because Yanagiti use a lot of Gajayana rules. And then when I see it, I can't understand. I don't know what it means. So I need to go back to join the Gajayana class with Dr. Alex. And I even learn from the Thai source. So this could be helpful. So my answer is that the Pali grammar syllabus in Thailand is very, very brief, and it's just enough to translate Pali into Thai, but we don't actually go very deep in terms of the root, in terms of the source of each term. I thought it would be useful, and if we have improve the Pali grammar syllabus in Thailand so that the Pali student will be able to know more about the text, and then they know the origin of each term. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Venerable. Is there any other question? Since we don't have other questions, we will conclude this session. This was the session 4 on paper presenting. 4 presenters. The first presenter was from India. Dr. Sumak presented on Shyama Prasad Mukherjee's role in promoting Buddhism in India and Burma. And the second presenter, Venerable Dr. Thirasatto, highlighted the contribution of His Holiness Suddhananda Mahathir in promoting Buddhism and his role as a peacemaker in Bangladesh. And our third presenter was Dr. Bashindar Deep, who presented the theories and practices of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar on Buddhism in India. And our last presenter was Venerable Pramaha Piyabhaso, who presented on Venerable Jnanakitti, a late 15th century scholar monk from Langna Kingdom. I congratulate all the presenters and I pay my gratitude to Most Venerable Professor Dr. Kamai Dhammasami by helping us to share our knowledge on Pali and Buddhist studies through this conference, and I congratulate all the organizers of the 11th International Conference of Shan State Buddhist University. Thank you, Venerables. Sabbe satta sukhitatta bhavantu.
I'm very thankful to our moderator, Venerable Professor Dr. Medaka Pidiye Vijita Dhamma, for leading this section successfully. In addition, I would like to say thank you to our 4 presenters for sharing their insightful speech at the 11th International Conference on Endeavours, a prominent figure in teaching and practicing Buddhism in honor of the 60th birthday celebration of the Most Venerable Oswald Sayadaw, the founder of the SSBU. I'm really appreciative of your time. The certificates of acknowledgement will shortly be sent email to our online moderator and presenter. The section 4 come to end here. I truly appreciate the audience who are joining us in this Dhamma hall and online from different countries. Hopefully, you will join us for the next section, which will begin soon. Thank you so much.